Greetings, loyal minions, beautiful humans. Welcome to the SciShow, the #1 ranked YouTube channel for people who like to experiment. If that's you, I appreciate you. The moment everyone's been waiting for, all of the heroes from Soul Exchange tested in the live game. Now, please stay tuned to the end. I am going to recap my power rankings, which show some very cool things. If you haven't seen my other Soul Exchange videos, go check them out. I will also have a song at the end around those power rankings with some interpretive dance straight from our favourite heroes that are in Soul Exchange. So definitely keep an eye out for that. You know, you just don't want to miss it. Karen will be pleased to know that I did have another nightmarish hero this time around. So he got his own little song. He wasn't quite as bad as Hallstone and Xera from the past, but did sort of cause me to fall asleep whilst I was waiting to find him and then actually hit re-roll. I was literally like, my head was drooping and I hit re-roll and then had to find him again. So I'll start off with him. Enjoy the song, enjoy all the testing. I hope this really helps you figure out which hero is going to be best for you, and stick around to the end. Whoa.
To see what he can do, but the bastard's like a myth. Blink once and he's gone poof. Been raiding all damn day, re-rolling like a creep, waiting for his gloomy face, but all I did was fall asleep. Where the hell is Phantom? Someone check behind the tiles. I've seen more bloody Hallstones than this sad boy in the shadows. I'm snoring on the battle screen, drooling on my phone. Ran out of hand 3 times already. How's he still not shown? So if you spot the Phantom, tell him Psy's still hanging around. Worn out, broken, hamless, while Psychiatrist keeps telling me I'm useless. We just go round and
Alright, we're about to see what sort of hit he does. I was going to use Araminta's skill to see him dispel that, but I'm a bit worried that she might kill him. Yeah, he's got minus defense against special skills. So basically she has the buff of getting 10% mana after 2 turns, or immediately if it's removed before the duration ends. So by him going off with his dance, he would override that and therefore set it off, but we'll just see his damage for now. So 904, 630, and you can see because Araminta resists that, it didn't affect, but you can see there the dance now showing up on Chitranganda with the mana gen and the decrease for any healing. It also gives immunity to new status effects, so you can't put any buffs over the top of that. So that is the power of the Phantom. Alright, so we're about to see Ajima. His attack is going to be higher because he's got some growth on, so just ignore that. It will affect it a little bit. Now, we're going to see the fact that he won't be able to remove minions from Daichan, but we've thrown up Moonbells. Beautiful example of where a minion remover can be useful, because if you look at these minions, they've got 1000 HP. So to remove all of those, he's basically doing 1000 hit to all, but then he's doing extra damage as well based on hitting them. So it really does make him do a lot. Now, we'll just see what sort of damage. As I said, he does have a bit of extra power on, but we'll just see what he does. Gets rid of the minion. And he's hitting for 300 or 400. So again, the hit wasn't huge, even with the extra attack. That's because he is probably the most outdated and lowest statted in there. But again, if you take into consideration he's hitting 1,000 to get rid of the minion already, he's giving, you can see the mana down, so now minus 28 mana, so that's another really important thing. So outside of Horde War, it's really hard to find teams that do have those minions, but if it's something you specifically struggle against, keeping in mind, Costume Diao-Chan, some of the other annoying minion summoners can't, also have the skill of not being able to remove them. So Costume Liu Zhang, if you're struggling against him, it's not going to work. But any other minion summoner, such as a Moonbell, Ojima will be great, but for anywhere else, he's pretty much useless. All right, we're about to see Nogu go off now. He does have a bit of extra attack. You can see there his attack is quite high. That's because we've also got Lazara of the same family. So he's getting a 50% attack increase instead of the 35 that he would get by himself. Shows how well he will pair with someone like Lazara, though. It doesn't even have to be the same color. You're just getting that attack boost from it. So we're going to see the bleed damage is up to 957. I think on the normal card that shows about 750. So, yeah, we'll see just what sort of damage he's doing. I think you'll be slightly surprised at his hit. He does still have his other 20% attack boost on for 6 turns, so it's going to be a bit higher. You can see there it was 1280 on Hathor and about 650, so it's kind of around half. But if you're hitting with a defense down first, we can see we've also got the bleed damage, so 319 per turn. That's pretty decent, and we'll just see that flick off here. Yeah, and any boosted health he's going to get some benefits from himself. We can see there I'm not on boosted, so it didn't actually help, but there we go. That's Nogu and how useful he can be. All right, we're about to see what Eliane can do, not only with her hit to all, but the flame damage as well. Should hit Lord Loki a bit harder. You can see 700. It's actually 770 on Zonalford. 700 on Lord Loki, I think maybe a little bit lower on the rest. So not a bad hit to all. So, if you're doing 700 damage to all, that's 3,500 damage in total. That's really good. We can see the burn damage, 295 per turn. Now, we'll also see how much that gives her from a point of view of the mana when we make the next move. Now, I will point out, Eliane was reasonably easy to find, even on defenses. So I'm around about 2,500 trophies at the moment. So that kind of gives you an idea of the defense teams that she's still on. It could just be because she's a Hero of the Month, slightly easier to get, but also because of the fact that she is quite a good hero all around. So we'll just let her flame damage go and see how much mana she ends up getting from it. And just see how much that mana quickly filled up just there. So she's up to, basically a quarter mana, plus what she would get for the normal turn. So a couple more turns and she'd be ready to fire again. So that's what makes her really, really useful. If you can pair her with someone else who gets burn on first, she's going to charge up very, very quickly. If you get a hit all very fast at burn, you would basically put that on after 6 tiles, and then she would be charged most likely the next move. So very, very useful from that point of view. And I would say, yeah, that's Eliane. All right, it's taken a little while with the sleep, but we'll try to get her firing now. We've got everyone dead, so we'll just see if she revives anyone. 60% chance. Yeah, she's brought a couple back. The good thing is she then gives them the heal over time, so it's about, what have we got? 250 per turn, although I think his was 250 per turn. So not a heap. It's not enough to keep them alive for a long time, but any reviver can be really useful just for bringing your team back, just as Lysanor just did. So if you aren't having a reviver in your team, Lysanor could be an option for you. All right, about to see him go off. Haven't done a lot of damage, but we'll see this health and boost. So we got around 2,000 heal and probably I think it was 600 or 700 boost as well. So we can see some of these heroes that have actually got boosted health. So just fantastic. Gives mana generation. Doing a lot. Didn't have any ailments, so there was nothing to put on me. But I just think really, really useful all around. They do work a little bit better on defense as opposed to offense, purely because the core gets charged quicker, especially if you're in tank. So if, you could have him on offense and he just never gets hit, so therefore you're not getting the bonus from the core. but just all around great healer and speed mana up. So it just makes himself faster for the next charge, which is fantastic. You can see he's almost charged up again now just from a few hits. So that is the power of Carter. All right, we'll get some ailments going here. Probably won't get any on Elena, but we'll get some ailments happening so we can see that Alvar will lift those and send them back to me. So we've got the bleed and didn't have any frost because Svarfa hadn't been hit yet. But hopefully we'll see that bleed get transferred as soon as he does fire, which he's about to. So let's just... Not only that, but he'll reset the count on it. So see the hit there was 1,000, pretty much 1,000 on Svarfa. It went up to maybe 1,200 on Zonalford. So it's quite a good hit all. He does still have the attack up. Aether Talent. Was it the Aether Talent? Anyway, 40% attack for 2 turns left. So he did do a bit of extra damage there. He's also, you can see, he's put the bleed on me. So I'm now getting that bleed and it's been reset to 3 turns. On top of that, I'm also now reflecting any buffs that I do. So if I just show that as well, we can see that if I give myself the ailment blocker, that will actually get reflected back to the other team. Bang, so they're now all immune to ailments and getting the boosted health. So I think Alvar is really, really good value and will do good for anyone that picks him. All right, we're going to see his hit. Keep in mind, a couple of my heroes still have that defense up. But we'll see what sort of hit he does. Have a look at his bleed damage, which we can see is 2268. So that's, that's 700 per turn is huge. It spreads, so you really need to try and cleanse it as quickly as possible. Hopefully, we don't resist it with everyone, but we'll have a look at the hit he does. So bang, 1048. That was with a bit of extra defense on. So you'd probably be looking at 11 to 1200. So it's a nice hit. I think with so many useful heroes now, the single hitters probably miss out a little bit, but that bleed damage, as we can see, 756 and it spreads. So we'll just have a look at that spreading to nearby. So it spreads quite quickly because it goes in both directions. So you can now see that Hathor has it. You can see that Chitranganda has it. So they're now all losing. And one more turn. So again, when you're using on offense, you want to be hitting... You don't really want to hit someone on the side. You want to hit in the middle, and it spreads it as quick as it can. So we'll just have one more look at that. And we will see that. Oh, bit of a cascade. Wowzers. But we've seen it spread over to Svarfa as well, who's now receiving it. Now, they do only get it, she's only getting it for 1 turn because it's about to expire, but it just eats you up so quick. You can see now that Astrid, which was the one that was hit originally, is almost dead already. So yeah, pretty good. He's also giving them attack boost, so just means that, and you can't remove that unless you've got someone special that overwrites the stacks, but yeah, so that's just going to stay with you throughout that battle. So that is the power of Daroga. Alrighty, Sparklight about to fire. We can see that burn damage is a little higher than it shows on the card once you add troops and that sort of thing. So 720 burn damage over 4 turns. We'll see what sort of damage she does all up and also see how much she's then healing afterwards. So the initial hit we've got is about 700, 680. So we'll look at that 5 damage now. So we're doing 180 burn damage. That's going to be to 3. So you're looking at about 550. Everyone else is going to steal that as boosted health. So we'll see what sort of health they're getting from that. See there, it was about 90 for each hero that had it. So 270 to 300. Very, very nice overall. And that's the use of Sparklight. Alright, so we'll get him set off here. We'll see, he should do a lot more damage to Chitranganda. Oh, so she dodged it. So around 500 to 700 damage, I think, to the rest. Because she dodged it, probably would have been closer to the 1400 odd. And again, it just shows how much better he is against people that can cleanse or dispel. So apologies you didn't get to see the whole lot there. We'll see now if we can drop any of this damage down as well. So yeah, you see he dropped that damage down to 1 for himself. So that's where the follow-up skill becomes really useful. I do like attackers that can help keep your team alive, because it means you can, if your healer isn't quite up, he's still helping by not, letting you take the full damage if you do manage to have that kick in. So, yeah, that's the power of Satori. He also looks pretty hot too. I mean, who doesn't love a big half-naked sumo wrestler? Or is that just me? Yeah. All right, a slightly different test here for Darkfeather. I'd usually test them out on defense, see what damage, but someone has asked me to try and show the difference from what he would do with the Titan. Now, I don't have a Titan available, unfortunately, so just going against some really strong heroes from Season 2. So just going to do a bit of a test. We'll hit with Duban first to see what sort of damage he's doing. As you can see here, his attack stat is 2,100. And then we'll see how much that goes up to after using Darkfeather a few times. So 2,100, we'll see what sort of damage he does. You can see it was around about between 800 and 1,400. His damage is increased on each hit. So that's what I was trying to make there. So just think it was around about 1,000. So now we're just going to set Darkfeather off over and over again. We can see the growth adding up. That can get up to about 1,200-ish. So see there it's at 1080. We can now see that his attack is 50% higher than it was. So, well, it's 1,080 higher than it was. And we'll throw a mana on. Actually, we'll do a few more. We'll just get it maxed out. You can see now 3,377. He was doing around about 800 to 1,000 damage. We'll see what he's doing now. You can see the first one was actually 1,500. Plus, we've seen those follow-up hits from Darkfeather skill, which were another sort of 1,000 odd each hit. So that's where against the Titan, once you've got his growth up, you're kind of almost doubling your original hit. Plus, you're then getting all those follow-up damages. So over the course, especially of a Mythic Titan, it just is insane the difference that you're going to see in those scores. So obviously, for not every Titan, you're going to get him fully up with the mana pots, etc. But if you need to, that's what's available. That's what makes Darkfeather so amazing. Heal, growth, and follow-up damage, just doing it all. All right, get it up and running very quickly. Now here you're going to see a smaller hit because I don't have many heroes with lots of mana. So you'll see there it was a 1 hit to an older hero for about 900. So nothing fantastic there, but let's see how much that hit improves with some full mana. All right, this should be perfect. She's going to smash. Hopefully she doesn't hit Lord Loki again. See there, I think it was 3 hits, did about 3,000 in total. This is where it can just come down to luck, basically. If she had have then hit Thaffa, she could have ended up doing 6 or 7 hits. So that's the power of Lemonwood. Doesn't do a lot more other than that, but definitely huge if you can use mostly on offense now to target the enemy with high mana, especially if multiple enemies have high mana. She will just continue chaining through them and reduce their mana as well. Keeping in mind there are a lot of heroes now that can actually feed off her trying to reduce their mana or resist. So, yeah, that's Lemonwood. We've got Mina up and running pretty quickly. We'll see the hit. So 1,100, and we actually seen that bypass the defense down, I think. So 1,100, I think it was around 700 or 800 to the nearby. But we can now see Mina has not only the soft skin, but we also have the fluff volleys given to the nearby. And we'll just see that eat my mana here shortly. We'll see the soft skin eat up that damage. So we're only getting, 3s and 10 damages for those tiles. And now we'll see the fluff volleys. Chung, chung, chung. So a couple of 100 damage and removing the mana as well. But again, keep in mind, some heroes can resist that. So that's really all there is to Mina. Doesn't do heaps of special different things, but very, very useful for removing that mana. And I'll just throw along again. you know, you can't control who it's hitting, which is one small annoyance, but you're going to be getting those follow-up hits. Bang, bang, bang. I mean, you can see the damage on that one was actually 400, but reducing that mana, which just stops the enemy from firing. So fantastic, and that's the power of Mina. Oh, there we go. So there's a fair chance he's going to hit someone that does an either buff or an ailment. Hopefully he hits Bernadette to see the full brunt of it. We'll also see his damage here, so let's see what he can do. And who's he hit? Oh, he's... Are you serious? He hits the one that dodges and doesn't have an ailment or a buff. Fantastic. Let's try that again. All right, let's see if we can actually make him hit someone useful. Although, no, I have the blocker on. Ouch. Wow. He's just really not cooperating, is he? So he did put his thing on there, but you can see now that we can't activate anything. Let's keep going and see if I can get this bloody working correctly. Wow. All right, let's hope that he hits one of these heroes that's actually useful. I do have a few damage increases on with a few, but again, we'll check his damage, see his ailment that he puts on. Please don't hit Chitranganda. Okay, so 1310. That was to a hero that didn't have any extra damage multipliers, but you can now see that Araminta, who normally does a stack of all damage to all enemies, and also the all allies gain 10 mana after 2 turns, you'll see that she won't be able to cast that now, so we'll fire her off. You can see she didn't put the stack on the enemy, and I don't have the buff. So that's the power of Daemon. It's not so much his hit, it's the fact that you can basically disable one of the enemy's real strong heroes, such as a Bernadette, who wouldn't be able to cast a painting once she has that ailment, and it does last for 3 turns, which isn't too bad. So that's the power of Daemon when he finally decides to frickin' cooperate. All right, we'll get to see her in action. See how much she heals. I mean, they haven't taken much damage yet, but it's going to be a huge heal. There you go. Like, I've seen like 3,000 health, plus about 600 boosted health, so, you know, crazily up to like 4,000. That was on Hetefres herself, who does get a bit of a bonus, so anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000, depending on the health of your heroes. That is huge. You can see I also have the blind. They've got defense up against green. I'll see if I can quickly fire off Thaffa just to see the effect that really has on the damage, if I can get him charged. All right, we'll see the... Probably won't see the blind here because I do have protection, but we'll see the damage reduction when Thaffa fires, so we'll just wait for Hetefres to go off. So just keep in mind, she'd normally give the blind. I'd probably miss half of my hits, but we'll just see with Thaffa. He usually does around about like 1,000 damage, so we'll just see. So yeah, usually around 1,000 to 1,200. We see it drop down to sort of, I don't know, it's 650 to 900-ish. So huge reduction, just helps your team stay alive longer after you've healed them up, plus giving that blind. There we have Hetefres. All right, I realize this doesn't record great from my phone with the portrait mode, but hopefully you've seen it all in my deep dive Soul Exchange video. I just really wanted to highlight the fact that Costume Hetefres way at the top there with the high team power. Alvar, very high up. I think he's very underrated. And also Eliana, 10 souls. I think he's overlooked because she's a Hero of the Month, but 3rd highest on the team power. The other big thing to note is Dark Feather being 2nd last. I think that just shows that a great skill can sort of compensate for that team power. So very interesting. And of course, Ojima bringing up the rear. Now, I'm not sure if you can actually read the silly reasons here, but we've got a song to highlight that and some interpretive dance from our heroes. So please enjoy. Remember to gently press the subscribe button, give your kitty a script for me, and have a bloody good one.
That tail Got me praying for blindness, cover my eyes, babe. Alpha shows up with Xera's regret. Picked up an STD and he ain't done yet. Aliens rock and roll, she's a grandma in heat. Harry Potter at 100 trying to sweep you off your feet. Carter's checking scroll size, but hey, not me. I'm innocent, I swear, it's bigger than a bee. Why to pick, everybody got a kick. Every hero got a vibe that'll push you to the brink. Nature, ice, fire, holy, dark, take your pick. Welcome to the roster where the choices get thick. Where the choices get thick. Mana brings the fluff, volley feathers in the sky. Damon's boy band posing like he's ready to cry. Duraga's just a toy when your fave goes flat. Spin him round, break him in. What you think about that? Lemon wood will drain you over and over like a holy Hoover. Goodbye, composure. Sparklights got the ice sword. Hot fireball blast. Party time explodes. Better buckle up fast. Why to pick? Everybody got a kick. Every hero got a vibe that'll push you to the brink. Nature, ice, fire, holy, dark, take your pick. Welcome to the roster where the choices get thick. Where the choices get thick. No goose spear, long and fast, no shame. Satori's only sumo sliding into the game. Listenor's horns will revive your soul or knock you out cold. Play your role. Phantom lurks in shadows like a sad romance. Depressed stalker energy, but damn, he can dance. Dark feathers got the tickle in the very wrong spot. It'll keep us asking how'd it fit. It hurts a lot. Why to pick? Come on, spin that wheel. Every hero got a reason that you shouldn't, but you will. Holy, dark, fire, ice, nature, take your pick. Welcome to the roster where the choices get sick.